Right now, it's easy to be pessimistic about the cryptocurrency market. However, I do believe that when these charts start to rise again, many individuals will be discouraged from entering the market. I discussed how XRP has been somewhat pessimistic on the lower time frame structure, the 24-hour span, in my previous post. Lower highs and lows have been frequent, especially within the shorter time frame. Our goal is for this chart to reach a new higher peak. However, there is some positive news. Around $257 will be our next significant high point. Right now, we are trading against support of about $223. Whether or not we can overcome that is the question. To truly break out and aspire for this high back here, the price must be rising. Many believed that the ETFs would be highly beneficial. So far, they have, correct? If we go all the way back to November 22nd, Bitwise and I believe Franklin Templeton both went live at this time. Actually, now that I think about it, it might have been Franklin Templeton and Grayscale, but it was worth it because it helped XRP rise. But much more is needed here. Actually, I'd like to see XRP start to pick up some momentum once more. But the thing that interests me the most is that XRP has recovered a lot of support, dating back to the start of the year, when prices were close to $2.75 and around $2. Additionally, I stated in my video from last night that availability would improve, and given that the Fed is stopping QT at that time, I do believe that this will occur in December. The date of the event is December 1st. Therefore, we are aware that the markets ought to take that into consideration. The answer won't appear immediately. The FOMC will then convene on December 10th to choose whether or not to lower interest rates once more. Given that we have struggled to get money since 2025, I do think funding is crucial in this sector right now. In other words, this is the start of the tradeway R in January. From January to April, it removed all of the money that was available for use in the market. After that, we begin to somewhat recover. We then hear further discussions regarding tariffs, trade disputes, and other related subjects. For the summer, clear the market once more. In July, we begin to rapidly recover after that. What occurs once more? Due to tariffs and the trade war, prices begin to decline somewhat. Additionally, the government closes for longer than 40 days. Again, this kills the market by cutting off even more liquidity. Following that, market makers filed for bankruptcy on October 10th. When we go back at 2025, we can see that liquidity has been fully cleared away. However, starting in December, availability will begin to improve once more. At that point, we begin to see cryptocurrency in a much broader context. Because of the favorable financial flow in this location, that image depicts us feeling upbeat once more. If there isn't enough money on hand, the market will continue to decline. Therefore, December is the most crucial month for improving liquidity. A lot of people are becoming really bullish about XRP right now. Due to limited assets and the expansion of ETFs, XRP has remained unchanged in 2018. Top large cap performers have done well despite the market's 15% monthly decline. Recent withdrawals have caused Binance's reserves to fall to $2.7 billion, indicating that financial institutions are investing before demand increases. On-chain signs pointing to $280, and spot ETF registrations, like the most recent 21 share application for a December 1st debut, give investors even more cause for optimism. The crucial level for a climb, according to technical analysis, is $222, but a decline below $2. 17 would put lower supports to the test. Yes, starting December 1st, there will be a 21 share start. Later on in the film, we will discuss that. Yes, but that's outrageous since Cointelegraph, which often takes a bad stance on XRP, has been publishing a lot of articles that are good about it. Here, we are bullish. There are numerous bullish signals coming from XRP. ETF inflows, on-chain statistics, and charts all suggest a potential surge to 280 salons. Until we begin to overcome some of these previous highs, that will not occur. I now concur that $280 is a reasonable price since it is our turning point in this support zone. Right now, that's my primary objective for XRP. In any case, the structure here has been really bearish once more, so we'll start aiming for some of these previous highs following that. Even at the macro level, all of these higher highs are no longer higher highs due to our lower high structure and significant loss of support. Thus, XRP is indeed quite pessimistic. However, I would want to turn this chart over and ask you all what you think. Do you think we'll be pumping or dropping more now that this has happened? Is reversed? In my opinion, a significant reversal of XRP is imminent. It will be fascinating to observe because if we begin to break clear of some of these previous highs, a powerful uptrend with strong bullish momentum that is driving prices up might be the next step. Furthermore, Cointelegraph reiterated this on the 28th, stating that fresh spot extra PETF filings are booming since XRP is outperforming other outdated coins because to the market strength, institutions' desire for it, and the clarity of the regulation. Once more, practically all of these Cointelegraph stories have been really positive. Furthermore, it should go without saying that Cointelegraph has been extremely critical of XRP throughout the years. Additionally, Peter Brand has owned XRP for a very long period. In fact, just prior to the significant increase in 2017, he was extremely critical of XRP. Lastly, he is really bullish about XRP once more. I am aware that this differs from his pessimistic assessment in 2017, but he was also hopeful about XRP not too long ago. That was in November 2024, I think. So, if we do see this, it's kind of like a replica of the chart because he's looking at it from 2023 and seeing how we've been dealing since. So, here's the building too. Indeed, to put it another way, XRP has a very solid structure. Looking at XRP right now, you don't need to be an expert to say, wow, that looks good from a structure point of view. So if you're only looking at this, let me get everything off the chart. It appears that we are trading in a consolidated trend based on what you can see. Prices have already somewhat increased. All right? Additionally, I've previously discussed this a few times. In fact, XRP is rising, which is a very positive indication. Additionally, we've already begun to locate weekly support for this decline at about $2, correct? We have held onto $2 all the way back to June. This is really good. It is evident that there is a great deal of support in this instance. I concur with Peter. This type of building process is what we are going through. This is a really positive indicator. In addition to that extremely optimistic phase, XRP is also in an accumulating phase. The time frame for consolidation and accumulation is not indefinite. This occurred before to XRP's ascent in November 2024. Yes, we were in buildup for a brief period of time. After losing the rising trend, we entered a 210-day phase of stabilization. Approximately 133 days have passed since our last high in July. However, given that the market has been largely negative since January 2025 or this year, I would contend that the entire period since January has been a consolidated phase. It has nearly been since the majority of old coins haven't reached new highs since their January highs, we have been quite bullish about cryptocurrencies this year. However, aside from that, additional HCF applications are launching. 21 shares will go online on Monday. They oversee assets worth roughly $8 billion. It will be significant. 8 of these ETFs are currently trading live for XRP, if we examine all of them that are currently trading. And since there are 6 spot-based ones on top of the ETF tracker, I believe there are more than 8. Additionally, we have 4 swaps with leverage. That is now 10. For 21, it will cost 11 shares. Additionally, we must determine when the trees of knowledge and coin shares will go online. We still have a lot ahead of us, and if we want to discuss ETFs, BlackRock is still available. There is still Grayscale. There is still Fidelity. I apologize, Grayscale, but some of these are already live. We have VanEck in addition to BlackRock and Fidelity, correct? These are not at all filed.